Good evening, everyone. Day number 252 on our updates daily on the war in Ukraine. 9 o'clock Eastern here in the United States, 6 o'clock California, 3 a.m. in Ukraine. Huge day of activity, not only in Ukraine, we're going to update you completely, but additionally, nations that are affecting this war in Ukraine took prominence today. So lots of video, lots of information to share. And over the next few minutes, we're going to get you updated fully. So thank you for being here. Thank you to all of the great community. You're still buying supplies. You're doing an awesome job. It's much appreciated. Beauty of this community is it will be hand delivered and you'll be a part of it. So thank you for that. And a big thanks as always to our moderators for keeping the chat going and safe. And let's get to it. Tonight, Zhenya is ready to roll. It is good morning. It is good morning.
Good evening.
There. Sometimes these buttons don't trigger right, but we got them. That's what happens when you do stuff like this. So thank you, buddy, for being here, and hope you're doing well. Looks to me like you're a little chilly. Your heat okay?
It's okay. I'm in a special mood.
Is your apartment as warm as it normally would be?
No.
Okay.
You kidding?
That's all we've got to ask. No. Okay. We'll leave it there. I will tell you this. Your skin is looking good. Your complexion's good. Everything's looking fresh. Now, listen,
yeah, it's just refreshing. You know?
I was looking through my stuff today, just so you know. I'm going to bring you a really high-end sleeping bag when I get there after Christmas. So you're going to have one and I'm going to have one. Remember, we said our van is going to be equipped differently this time because we're going to be prepared. We were prepared last time, but it's going to be a completely different ball game this time. All right, bud, let's jump to it. We've got a full night, full update. And folks, here we go. First of all, Russia says they returned to the grain deal, but it's just rhetoric. Let me just play this. We'll go right from the get-go, and Zhenya, then we'll get your response. Really interesting here on Putin's words. So we'll start here.
Объявленному прекращению нашего участия в зерновой сделке, то есть в сделке, направленной на, как было заявлено изначально, на помощь беднейшим странам мира и вывозу зерна в этой связи с территории Украины. Всем известно, что, к сожалению, Украина использовала этот гуманитарный коридор для попыток нанесения ударов по Черноморскому флоту. Мы потребовали от украинской стороны заверений в том, что и гарантии в том, что ничего подобного в будущем происходить не будет, что гуманитарные коридоры не будут использоваться для военных целей. Посредником в прояснении этой ситуации выступили наши турецкие партнеры, и по линии Министерства обороны получена информация от турецкой стороны о том, что такие заверения Украины...
All right. Your comments, then I'll give mine. Go ahead.
Okay. Have anyone seen this document with the Ukrainian guarantees?
This is what I was telling you. Russia's returning to the deal, they think, but it's a joke.
But the good side of that right in the beginning of this year, Russia were telling that they're demanding the guarantees from United States side of not attacking Russia. And after 8+ months of war, with their plan of capture the Ukraine in the 3 days, after 8 months, they demanding the guarantees from Ukraine to not attack their ships. It's
a big change. Now, that was translated very well. Zolik did it for us, and couple of things in that statement I didn't like. Number one, humanitarian corridors to get the grain out. You're not allowed to do battle activities from a humanitarian corridor. So my question would be this: has Russia attacked humanitarian convoys and killed civilians, kind of like you and I, who give aid to those in need on Ukrainian territory?
Many times.
Many times. Number two.
In all the places, starting from Mariupol and all the places.
That's right. And Ukraine struck the Black Sea Fleet, not civilians. Big difference.
Yes.
Secondly, he basically said, you can't shoot at our ships. The other problem I have with this statement: Putin is not stupid. I know he's a madman. I know he's crazy, full of the devil. However you guys want to look at it, that's your right and your description. But he would not be in the position he's in right now if he was stupid. I'm telling you. So he was very calculated in stating that thankful to our partners, Turkey. Okay. What it should have said is the mediators, or the nation trying to make something happen here, Turkey. But when he uses the word partners, you know, it gives the wrong image to the world. And once again, we're back to Turkey being on the fence. Regardless, the good news is grain is flowing out to feed people.
Grain is falling out, flowing. And the second thing, Putin was telling that he's breaking this, let's say, contract. And now he changes his rhetoric, he changes his decision, and he says, no, we've changed it. And a lot of Russian people disagree, and I mean, what's going on, why everything is going by Ukrainians' side, and what kind of guarantees we're having. And so I think that something behind of that.
Sure.
Much more. It's nothing about like Putin telling.
No, there's something behind it. He does nothing that he cannot gain something from. But we've said we're just going to have to watch. We can't really predict the future, but we know whether it's in regard to a battle coming to Kherson or the grain deal, it's not over. We'll see what happens. Speaking of Kherson, let's jump down there for a second. November 7th, evacuation must be complete. So that's in 5 days from now, meaning the people they're pulling to the south. And secondly, in addition to that, today, Russia declared that the Dnieper River is closed, meaning that people that are in the occupied Russian territory cannot cross north. They can come south, but they cannot go north. So this zone is locking down more and more, and we'll see what happens from it. In addition, we were talking just before we went on here. Unfortunately, we did lose a little territory today.
Yeah, in couple places, let's say, of our border line and the front line, and we lost some territory. Russia took it.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of places we could repel it. I mean, but on some areas it's critical.
Yeah. Would that be outside of Donetsk?
Yeah, that area.
Yeah,
the most stuff, and up on Lugansk area.
Okay.
In the Lugansk district. I mean, let's say much more close to Kharkiv. Not close, but that area, that direction.
Sure.
Upper from Bakhmut.
Okay.
Sibirsk.
We'll but we've talked about this. There's going to be days that they push, days we push. That's the frontline battle, and this is one of those days where we've lost a little bit of territory. but we'll get it back. Russia annuls all international passes to the ZNPP, or the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant today, meaning up to this point, Ukraine, through some international ways, could get like some checkers in there. I don't know another word to use it. Investigators, checkers, whatever. But now Russia has completely thrown all of that out. The only people that are allowed on the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant are employees or authorized personnel of Rosatom. And of course, Rosatom is the company out of Russia that stole the power plant.
I believe that this kind of inspections Ukrainian side were doing, our side were doing, through different people, doesn't matter. It was at least some guarantees, and at least or they feeling, they checking the pulse, what's going on the power plant. So from this moment,
no more.
We think about that.
Correct. So now we're going to be kind of in the dark as to what is happening inside Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, and that's dangerous. Remember, I'm still going to stick with my projection that a nuclear weapon will not be used, period. I do believe that there will be a nuclear accident. I believe that something will happen at Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, or there may be a connection with the Novokakhovka Dam. There's no way Putin's backing up. So that's kind of my feeling. And with a diminish or a decrease in any type of outside inspection, there's going to be really no way to tell what's going on. Let's jump over here. And this is not to gloat. You know, I don't want anybody killed. I want the war over. I want Russia back in their country, and I want them to figure out their own problems and the world go forward. But as of November 1, just think about this: 1,402 Russian officers killed. Their highest ranks are General of the Army and Colonel General. They've lost none of those, but they've lost some lieutenant generals, major generals, and then on down the line, colonels, captains, and further. Bottom line, 1,402. The reason I show that tonight, Zhenya, is not to gloat, but if they've lost 1,402 officers, how many soldiers has Russia really lost? I know the numbers are at 70,000, but it probably is 70,000 if you've lost that many officers.
Yeah, I think it's a site for it's a good place for analytics, the military analytics, to check. I mean, what should be the numbers, real numbers, and what the numbers of this officer, eliminated officers, how much should be the soldiers in reality. Concerning the terrorist, nobody wants to, normal person, sound-minded, never wishes the death to someone. When it's about the terrorist, when the man is choosing the side and he choosing his way, I want to be a terrorist. Yes, I think that in a healthy world, if terrorist is not, if it's a choice of killed people, civilians, killed kids, killed,
then they need to be eliminated.
Yes, then I would like for they would be eliminated as soon as possible. For people would continue his normal life.
I think that's easily agreeable on. This is kind of what I was making reference to earlier. Listen, there's an American flag behind me, and on top of it, my Ukrainian cookie that's been there since the first week. And then, of course, my flag back there that my mom made for you. I've got a flag covering Barney Fife back there. You can see they got to stand with Ukraine over Barney. We support Ukraine 100%. I'm an American. I've worked in Ukraine for 26 years. I love Ukraine. I love America. but I'm not always in agreement with things that my country does. I don't like this right here. And it's not that Russian military leaders are discussing use of nuclear weapons. We know that. It's not that the war is very ugly. We know that. But sometimes when we just keep talking about stuff of this nature, we'll just cause an undue panic and undue unrest. What we need right now is strong leadership, good journalism, good media. Yes, we are aware of what's going on, but we need to find a way to solve this versus creating the fear more. You know, you look at regular media, it's nothing but trash and sensationalism and trying to get an emotional response out of people. That's all this is. What we need are solutions. We do not need America saying, hey, they're talking about nuking Ukraine. Are you kidding? We know that. We don't need to keep reiterating it. Let's solve it. Let's find a way. Let's go in there and end this thing. That's just my opinion. What are your thoughts on that as a Ukrainian?
Okay, it's like it reminds me of the time when we've seen something like that, telling that okay, Russia is gonna attack Ukraine. What it has changed. I mean, what it has changed.
Correct.
In reality, I mean, did it help? I mean, did it make Great Britain, France, and others stop this war? Or result was just, okay, we were telling you.
That's my point. Instead of just telling, which we know, and it's okay to tell, why don't we come with a solution and say, this is what they're planning to do, but we're the United States, we're the #1 army, and it's not going to happen. It's not.
Yes.
That's the kind of leadership America should be providing and this world needs. That's my point.
And there is a big difference between two positions. Oh, if it will happen, then we will answer. It's a one. The second, oh, we will stop it. It will not happen. We will stop the World War III. Nuclear war. It's a different situation. It's about responsibility, and it's important for people.
That's the word. This is your third language, and you know English better than I do. It's irresponsible. That's the word. So we just try to share the truth. I want to give a congratulations to Ukraine. This, my friends, is a graph showing how long it takes for these cities, and these are big cities, to get back online when they've been struck. It goes back to October the 10th, October the 18th, October the 22nd, and October the 31st. For those of you in the U.S., yes, the day is in front of the month. So go back just a couple of examples. On the 10th, the huge attack that day at infrastructure. Lviv is the first city. It took them 13 hours to get back online. Zhytomyr 3, Kyiv 28, Poltava 23, Kharkiv 24. Khmelnytsky was 8 that day. And then even come down. And so you can understand what's going on there, even though you can't read it. Kyiv is 7, Rivne 14, Volyn 23, Mykolaiv 3, Khmelnytsky. This was the big one for the 22nd, 23 hours, Zaporozhye and Cherkasy. But my point being, these major attacks, Ukraine gets the power back on very quickly with limited resources. Limited.
Yeah, but at this moment, we don't have any more, let's say, the parts, the blocks and equipment to change. We had some, so at this moment, we don't have such, reserves, let's say.
So the bottom line is, on the next wave of attacks on infrastructure, which will happen, in fact, Kryvyi Rog is being hit right now, and they've already hit the infrastructure tonight. It was a hit, and they've lost power in Kryvyi Rog. Those hours are probably not going to be as quick. We're running out of supplies.
We will do our best.
We will do our best.
This is the war. We will do our best.
Well, talking about a war, there's Putin, the terrorist. There's Zelynskyy, probably number one leader in the world right now, in my opinion. Negotiations with the Russian Federation are possible only when it takes steps back and goes beyond the borders of 1991. Zelynskyy says if Russia does not want to return Donbass and the big one, Crimea, this means that the war has not ended. Now, you have been sharing that statement for weeks, that only the 1991 borders, which includes Lugansk, Donetsk, and Crimea, will allow negotiations to take place. We've said it over and over, but of course, we're not Zelynskyy. So what if I was to give folks an update tonight on a statement from President Zelynskyy made today to a Czech interview, Czechoslovakia. And here's the cool thing. You ready? He did it in English.
Okay.
He did it in English. Here you go, folks. President Zelynskyy, November the 2nd. If you were wondering if Ukraine is going to negotiate, wonder no more. If you were wondering if Ukraine is going to quit because of a cold winter, wonder no more. Here's your answer.
I have time for this diplomacy because it's lie. They lie. So it's not diplomacy. They lie. They want to, by diplomatic directions stop the war. It's lying. Yesterday they said we are ready. Ukraine is not ready. And today they attacked us by 54 rockets. Well, they are crazy. So they are ill. I can't understand. On their head. So what they are speaking about? How we can speak if they attacked us by 54 rockets this day, half of the day? What about their speaking now? I think they live in another planet.
So no compromise. No compromise, only Peremoha, only victory.
It's not about compromise or not compromise. Of course, only victory, but they have to do steps back. They have to. They can't wait when we'll deoccupy this territory and we lose a lot of people, and they will lose a lot of people, and it's a tragedy. That's it. So they can do it. They can go out of our borders. That's it. That's it. And then they can say, let's find some, not compromise, some solutions how to live in nearest 100 years. Or, I don't know.
Out of your borders, President, what will be the first thing you will do after victory, after Peremoha?
After victory, I will go to Crimea. I really want to see.
See. Yeah. And when will it be?
Not in winter, because on the sea, what to do on the sea in winter? I will go when it will be warmer.
So can we expect the Peremoha, the victory next summer? Do you believe?
I wish, I want. We'll have our victory.
Now, that's the statement of Zelynskyy. That would have been with a Czech reporter on the day of being hit a couple of days ago, but it just got released today. So November the 2nd, this is Zelenskyy's position. Get out of our country.
Yeah, I believe if the whole world, let's say the biggest part of the world will do something like that, the same statements, or will do something which will influence on average just per person in Russia, for they would see the bad perspective for them in the future, for them, their kids and grandkids, like any family who is like whose man is supporting and participating in this war. I mean, from the Russian side, he's on aggression side, will be banned for traveling, for example. Disagreement, and will be blocked for. I mean, like Zelensky is saying. Okay, I mean, nothing in the middle, no
Nothing.
negotiation. There is no something in the middle of it. Part of that and part of that, something for you, something for us. No. And if the whole world will say, okay, this is a decision on the official level. If Russia doesn't change that, our politics and the promise to the local people and to the world society, our politics will not be changed, and the blocks will be more and more and more and more. Then sanctions will be more harder, and everything will be more strict. I believe it would change something, at least the atmosphere inside of Russia.
Well, very clearly, there will be no compromises, no negotiations until Russia leaves sovereign Ukrainian territory. Secondly, the thing I really liked there was when Zelynskyy said, after the guy asked him, what are you going to do when the war ends? He goes, I'm going to go to Crimea. That is the best statement he could make, because that is Putin's golden egg, is Crimea. And he's saying, I'm going to see, S-E-E, the sea. And he was proud of his play on English words there. So here's a big question people may ask. Do you think Putin's seeing the statements that Zelynskyy makes? Absolutely, he's seeing the statements. Well, is somebody translating them for him when he speaks English? No. Why? Because Putin speaks great English, folks. Don't let him fool you. He speaks Russian. He speaks perfect German. Perfect. And has his English is probably better than Zelenskyy's, more clear to understand. So don't let these world leaders fool you. It's just typically Americans that can only speak one language. Sorry. We'll leave that one alone. We'll leave that one alone, but it's the truth. You're sitting there and you speak 3 languages. You can deal with a little Polish if you need to. And, so anyway, we'll leave that one alone. So I want to get to this tonight. I believe we are on the precipice of World War III, personally. It's not sensationalism. I'm going to give you the facts. And tonight, we're going to look at that for just a couple of minutes right here. Why do I say that? Because all of these nations here are connected to the war in Ukraine. Just look at them. Estonia and Latvia, they're on the Russian border. Finland joining NATO on the Russian border. Poland, one of the best allies that Ukraine has. Today, they're building a wall against Kaliningrad. We'll show that to you in a minute. Iran, probably right now, on November the 2nd, the most important nation that's affecting world events today. Syria, caught in the middle of the battleground with Russia, Iran, Israel, affects Ukraine. Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu elected. They will be changing their positions on things, potentially. And if they do, it will only help the Ukrainian position, most likely. Turkey, as Putin said earlier, the partner, Turkey, they're in NATO. Who knows where they're at? Belarus on the north. We're going to look at a video from them in a moment. Moldova on the western part of Ukraine, the Transnistria. Moldova just had something fall in their backyard. Afghanistan, the Taliban, sending trained soldiers to Russia, being recruited, being hired by Wagner. China, world economy, Taiwan, North Korea going nuts right now. Basically, it looks like they want to pick a fight over there. South Korea, our great ally, that has to respond to that. All of this can be connected to Ukraine. I've got a big question mark there because I don't even have the United States in there. I don't have Germany in there. I don't have France in there. I don't have Great Britain in there. You can put any of those nations in those spots. All of these nations can be connected to the war that is happening in Ukraine. My friends, looks to me like we're on the potential of a global conflict. What do you think?
I think it's a time we need to, and all the world needs to realize and think about that when the country like Russia is inside of the war, I mean like in the middle of the war, most of or big part of their potential of producing are concentrated on producing of the weapon. Every day they're producing more and more and more and more. So there is a country who was working for the new technology and I mean all about the space and different things. The Russia is about the war. It looks like Iran is about the war. And all the power or their attempts it's to become a war beast on the planet. And
It is.
World needs to understand.
You made a good statement there, showing or talking about a war machine. And, a lot of people think, well, Russia's, firing all their missiles. They're just going to run out of stuff. People, be aware, they're still making more and they're buying more. And
they were using the old stuff.
That's right. They're using the old stuff. We'll see. But what we can show. Go ahead.
From this, the list of the countries, think about the things we don't know. Like example with the drones, with the parts in Iranian drones. So how many countries are hiddenly supporting Russia because of the money? And the previous day we were discussing the how it's possible that so many countries are increased their economic situation between them and Russia. Why? Because of war. What? Medicine? Because of what? Because what area? I mean, like what
energy,
area?
Fuel.
The question. Yes, and the question now, world need to understand if this beast will grow up bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. The small guys will be swollen, and at first
they will be,
and it will be new unions, alliances of the bad guys.
That's what they want.
Do we need a situation that okay, at this moment there is, let's say, there is no like the blocks like NATO, yeah? What if we would have in the world the union with the quantity of the countries or with the power, with their unity, their agreements and their cooperations? What then?
Well, unfortunately, we're in a world right now where I watch a lot. I watch and pay attention or read it after the chat. That's people are talking while we're streaming, and I try to respond when we can, but it's so involved now, it's harder. But they talked about the world leaders need to grow a backbone. I'm sure much of the militaries have backbone, but the world leaders need to grow a backbone. I think also, in addition to a backbone, they need to grow some foresight, meaning if they can't see that if a real alliance develops between Russia and Iran and China and North Korea and the population of India, these are nuclear nations. Afghanistan's crazy. Pakistan could be on the border. They're a nuclear nation. You let these alliances, Belarus, develop, we're asking for major trouble, and we need to have enough foresight to stop it. Now, that goes back to why I was aggravated by the journalism in America that just says, hey, they're saying they might use nuclear weapons. Be careful. Be careful. Stop them. If you don't, it can be one day we wake up and it's too late. It's not too late, but it's got to be stopped.
There is time when people can do it one way, just sharing the truth, making the whole country realizing what's going on, and let's say creating an atmosphere for the leaders of this country would do a serious decision. There is a time for, because later you cannot move it, back the time. Oh, we didn't know, we couldn't imagine that it's possible to have it like this. Okay, how many millions? We need millions. What we need? We need what should be have? I mean, what has to have? I mean, to happen in the world for we would be changed. Our life. We would change our life.
Hopefully not more, because we're seeing plenty right now. One nation that's making some statements is Poland. Poland's already put a border fence against Belarus. These are remote or like barbed wire fences. Right now, they are putting a border up against Kaliningrad. Poland is taking action. In fact, tonight I've got a little bit of Polish media for you. So you're going to hear some Polish translated into English. Thank you, Volodymyr Zelynskyy. My man gets it done on this one. I had no hope. I know nothing about Polish. But check this out. This is Polish border with Kaliningrad.
Tymczasowej zapory na granicy z obwodem kaliningradzkim. Zapora będzie składała się z 3 szeregów drutu ostrzowego, który to drut jest wykorzystywany przez wojsko na całym świecie, a więc 3 warstwy, które pozwolą na zbudowanie tymczasowej zabory, takiej jaka była na granicy polsko-białoruskiej.
So Poland seeing it, they're dropping barbed wire down. And obviously they've already done it with Belarus, and now it's happening with Kaliningrad.
There is a reason why, because Kaliningrad did open their airports for receiving people, potential refugees, to load more economics in Europe to do the catastrophe. Plus, you have to remember Zelynskyy. He was telling, okay, let's take, the thousands, 100,000 of refugees, and we will transport them for free through the Russian territory. We will transport it to Belarus, and Belarus will help us to transport these people to Europe. Let's Europe, they're telling that they're so nice and nice people, they're loving and caring. Okay, let's send them there, for their economic would fall. It was Zelynsky's idea.
I didn't think about that till you said that, but it's not only military they're trying to keep out. It's just unauthorized people coming through, putting more of a strain. Very, very good point there. And that made me think of something, and we're just going to have a longer stream tonight, so who cares? It's okay. It's a full day. That makes me think of something. This war started February the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been after the peak of the winter, toward the end of winter, early spring. And we had all those refugees and people leaving, and of course, fear and the unknown, and people like you sending your little children to safety. Normal. Okay. We're November the 2nd. And if this continues with the assaults on the infrastructure, do you think we'll see another wave? Because people cannot freeze to death. Will there be another wave of refugees trying to get somewhere?
I mean, it depends on the winter and a lot of factors, but it is possible. Absolutely.
But be clear, okay? We don't need a brutal winter. If you don't have heat and it's 0, it's cold.
Yes.
Forget -20. It's going to be 0. That's a warm.
Yeah. That's.
It's going to be 0.
I understand.
Okay.
I understand, but you have to understand it. I mean, there is other side. This is why I don't know, like, what to answer. The reality is, I don't know what to expect, because at this moment, people are, let's say, the biggest part of, I mean, the quantity of the people are preparing themselves for the cold winter, for a week or 2 weeks without electricity, and like our like ministry, church organization, we were thinking about what about maybe in the bad situation, maybe we will need to buy a big tent special for the winter for helping people to getting, I mean, to get some hot tea or something like that and get some warm. I mean, this is, and I think about how much Ukrainians are in the preparation of that to that, because we are in a war. For us, it's a price. If I mean, for us, it's the price of our freedom. We want to support our army. We want to support, I mean, our people as much we can.
Very good point. And, you know, having this conversation back and forth makes me also think, you know, this time we're prepared and we're preparing. February, we were unprepared. Really. We didn't.
Yeah, but the world is not in preparation of, seems to me, maybe I'm wrong, of possible other flows of refugees from other areas, and it can be millions.
Wow.
If there will be other places of the war.
Yes. Going to be an interesting winter. Confirmed now. Partners in crime. We've talked about it, the relationship between North Korea and Putin, but confirmed internationally today, North Korea is shipping weapons to Russia. So now, not only Iran, now North Korea.
We are not expecting, and I think it's just the right position, that Russia will be a round of shells and the missiles or the weapon. It's just a reality.
It is.
Like you can look at this picture, you can think about, okay, North Korea, it's. I mean, they will be happy if Russia will continue war with Western values.
They love it. They love it.
Yeah. And with a democracy.
Yes.
And
unfortunately, you know, and that's what people keep saying. Well, they're just going to run out. And we've said from day one, no, they're not going to run out. That's why we must defeat them, or they must leave completely. And then we come up with a solution. It's the only two options. Now, on some good news, at least in my opinion, others may not have this opinion, but in my opinion, this is good news. Netanyahu reelected as prime minister in Israel will mean, at the minimum, a positive stance toward Ukraine, at the minimum. What will it mean going forward in the days and weeks to come? I don't know. But man, I'm glad this guy was reelected. I think it will help.
Have no, have no comments on that. I would say I would like to stand together at least somehow with Israel, having such enemies around them.
Yes.
And yes, I believe it's time for them to have strong leaders.
Well, Netanyahu is, he's had his issues and ups and downs, but I'll tell you what, I think he'll stand with Ukraine more than any other potential candidate would. And I follow a lot of things in Israel. So for me today, personally, others may have a different viewpoint, and that's okay. But for me, I think it's the right guy in office to be an assistance to Ukraine. Now, will he instigate an increase of the conflict in Syria or with Iran? Absolutely. Absolutely. He's not going to play with them. So it's just another tick on the world meter, what's happening. Now, with that said, let's go to this one. Told you guys, huge update tonight. Belarus. That's the flag of Belarus. That's the UN logo and the word what? So my question is, Zhenya, have you been able to see what the Belarusian ambassador said at the United Nations today?
I have no idea. Sorry.
Okay. Oh, this is going to be good. So you have not seen this?
Zero.
Okay. So folks,
okay,
you're going to get this man's response right live. Here we go. I'm going to play the video, and then I'm going to cut directly to you and get your response. Here it is. Belarusian ambassador to the United Nations.
Я бы хотел обратиться к тем, кто разрабатывает и реализует эти санкции. Вы лишаете людей основного права, права на жизнь, но после этого имеете наглость поучать нас, как нам соблюдать права человека в вашем естественном понимании. Рано или поздно вы будете просто сметены либо собственными народами, либо миллионами тех, кто придет к вам из стран, которые вы сегодня разрушаете. И придут эти люди к вам не за мифическими правами человека в вашем понимании, а за куском хлеба, чтобы накормить свои семьи, своих детей. А вы, я думаю, войдете в историю не как политики, а как преступники и серийные убийцы. Благодарю вас за внимание.
The floor is yours. What do you think there? That's not Russia. That's Belarus.
Oh, it's a lot of, it's a mixture of everything there. Blaming people, the ones who is like initiating the sanctions because of what? Because of the war, because of the aggression, because of the killing people, and then he threatening these countries. Okay, the millions will come to you being hungry, and it will be your fault being hungry. Why? Because their leaders are starting the wars, because their leaders sending their men to die in an aggression war. So they blaming, okay, it's like, I don't know whom was this speech to? Like, I don't understand.
Exactly.
It's like being sick, you understand?
It is sick. And your mythical values in the West and you will go down in history as serial killers. Hey, we allow that talk in New York City. I would throw that man out of this country so fast and tell him to go back and work on fixing Belarus versus coming to the world and wasting our oxygen.
Okay.
Anyway,
who is the next will be in this club? I think you need. I don't know where this measure, will be. I mean, with the needed level that the club of this, speakers and this, the preachers of the Soviet Union will be, too many that for you and say, okay, that's enough, guys. That's too much. This circus should, having their show on in Moscow.
No. The circus has left town. You must have missed the train. The circus.
Yeah, I understand, but not in
not in New York City. I do have a question for you. Okay. Seriously, we make a little fun at that, but that's the words the guy's using at the United Nations. Where do these guys, whether it's, forget Putin and Lavrov and Peskov and Solovyov and Lukashenko, and I can keep listing, but where do these guys get this mentality from? Do you know? I mean, is it Soviet?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Soviet.
It's not just yes, it's Soviet. It's a mixture. There is, but it's surely from the Soviet times. And okay, let's if you will add the North Korea, the same influence.
Correct.
It's like East there. They got it, and it's still growing there. I mean, working there.
Well, let's bring it back as we close out tonight. Huge update.
But yes, sorry.
No, go ahead.
But yes, sorry. He says, but hey, there will be dangerous time for you when the millions will come to you as the beggars asking the bread or like looking for the bread. And yes, I understand that situation, but at this moment, these potential beggars, the leaders of their families, coming to other nations with the guns, with AK-47,
correct,
with the bombs, for them begging the bread. This is what he's connecting.
But they ignore all those parts. It's just like Putin. It's like we started tonight. Correct. Black Sea fleet. Now, Ukraine, you can't attack our ships from a humanitarian corridor, even though it's a military target. Now, we can drop missiles on your humanitarian guys. No problem. It's a broken mentality. And you talking about what's going to push it to the next level is Iran. I'm not backing up on this one. I think this could be real ugly here the next few weeks. Iran's supreme leader, his name is Ali Khamenei. It's not the president. He's the supreme leader. The president's name is Ibrahim Raisi, the butcher of Baghdad. That's the president. This is the spiritual supreme leader. Quote today, the U.S. is very weak, and we will fulfill our promise of revenge after the martyrdom of Soleimani. Those who think that the United States is a superpower are wrong. It is extremely weak. The pot is brewing, bud. It's boiling. And Ukraine is right in the middle of it all.
Yes, but you have to understand the situation was changed in the history, in the back, in the previous times. Why? Because in reality there is no unity between leaders today to this, even with dealing with this war between Russia and Ukraine. There is no strong, strong enough, equally strong positions and and strong decisions. This is why not just, I mean, he just seems to me he just told the things the other countries think about different countries, the big countries, about the France, Great Britain, Germany, and others.
He just bold enough to say it.
Weak, because there is small countries, and he said, okay, Iran, we buying the parts from Japan, Sweden, Austria, Australia, United States, and China, and we're killing people in Ukraine. Who you telling about the sanctions already 8 months? And what?
Well,
We just
my
planning much more to export to Russia.
My point, sure they are. My point tonight on this is, and really, I'll go back to this one. Let me pull it up here. This one right
Sorry
here.
telling you like this, but this is what I think.
It's good.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Everything that's happening, because we're focused on supporting Ukraine and standing for freedom, because I still say this war in Ukraine is prophetic for how the rest of the world will go. Ukraine has to win this war and put down this terroristic regime trying to destroy and perform genocide and bring in this new world order. It has to be stopped. But this graphic here, all of these nations, and I could have added multiple screens. We've got a brewing pot. And my point is this. Let me pull this one back up. I believe it's focused around Ukraine. And that's where the major war, not just little terrorist attacks, but war is happening. And this is the number one thing in the world, but others are now rising up quickly, such as Iran, North Korea, China, and we have to have victory. No other option. So we stand.
Thank you for standing, and the whole country, our country, standing with our army, and we're really thankful to every person, each person, and the countries and the leaders who is helping.
That's right.
I think Ukraine somehow started to believe not just in possibility, and the army is still fighting, not leaving their positions. People still staying. We somehow we trust God, and we're trying to do our part. I believe that the whole world needs to become some more stronger.
100% agree. Well, we'll keep doing our part. Thank you to everybody for being here tonight. Huge update tonight. And it's been really good, though. I think I just checked all the updates right now. We're fully updated. Krivoy Rogue having some issues right now, but we're in war. So thank you. Thank you, buddy. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for
Do
together.
Petermolga. Until victory.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you in 23 hours. A good night to all.
To all a good night.